Going on, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Beyond the Scare. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm one of your hosts, Danny, joined by my bro. What's good, Pauly?
What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back.
Yes, it's so nice to be back. So nice to be back. We got a lot to talk about today. Special episode, but before we get into that, I want to thank you again for tuning in. Wherever you're listening to us on whatever platform, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, thank you so much for tuning in and letting us know you love what we talk about. All of our horror fans out there, thank you for joining your favorite scare experts as we dive into all things horror. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your family, your friends. We love to talk about it, and we're so happy that you love to listen. So also, tell us what you want us to talk about in the future. If you have any favorites, please shout us out. Send us some DMs. Paul's got his DM open. Please hit him up with anything. No, I'm saying. But thank you so much, y'all. I'm so excited for today's episode. As you know, Scream 7 just came out, and what a delight it was. And our last episode, if you did not see it, we reviewed Scream 7. So go check it out. That was our last scare. So, but today, since we are still in the Scream vibes, Paul and I are still in the Ghostface vibes. We want to talk about more Scream. We decided to, nice, I like that shirt. We decided to rate our best to worst Scream films. Okay, from the first one, from 1 to 7. All right, we're gonna go actually backwards. So we're gonna go to from our least favorite to our most favorite. And Paulie, we had pretty much the same thing, didn't we?
Yeah. Actually, it was pretty close.
Yeah.
There's probably just like one or two, but then we kind of honed in on it and decided
Yeah.
best route to take with that one.
Right. So we did put up this. This is our list, BTS list. So we're so excited to tell you why and what we think. So if you agree with us or not, we'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear you rate it and your reasons why. So without further ado, let's get into it, Colin.
Yeah, let's do it. So, like Danny said, this is our ranking from Scream 1 to Scream 7. And to start off, we're gonna tell you guys basically what we're thinking about when we were ranking these particular Scream entries. So the first thing is the overall feel and overall attachment, what was going on in our lives during the particular release. We think that's important. But obviously, the kills. We definitely want to talk about the kills. As everybody knows, Danny and I are big on motives, so we're going to talk about the Ghostface's motives, and then lastly, we're going to touch on the character development, writing. So these four things pretty much helped us rank our Scream entries. So without further ado, right, let's get to it.
Let's do it.
All right. So coming in, number 7.
Number 7.
We have Scream 6.
Scream 6. Let's give a little round of applause for it. Welcome.
Yes, let's start off by saying every Scream entry is phenomenal in its own way.
Yeah.
We obviously, just like everyone else, has their favorites, has their least favorites. And obviously, BTS, we are discussing our favorites and why they're our favorites, right? So coming in at number 7, we have Scream 6. So, I mean, let's start off with, let's start with the overall feel and the overall attachment. So Scream 6 came out in 2023. So what was going on with you during that time? Like when you saw Scream 6, like how did you feel?
So the overall attack, I can tell you this is the least attached, and that's probably why it's number 7. This is the least attached one I had, because first off, I was already upset that Nev wasn't coming back. So that was, you know what I mean? Like we all felt that one. I'm not even gonna say it. So we all hurt. So I was like, okay, there's no Nev. All right. And then so, I do enjoy, Jenna Ortega and Melissa, but the face of Scream, we're like, what is gonna happen? So I was already kind of distant from it. And then, obviously I gave it a shot. But the overall feel of it going into it, I was very detached. But I did like a lot of aspects of the film. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's where I was with it when it first came out. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. So, obviously everything that went down with Nev in the studio, obviously I felt some type of way about it. Just, Nev being that final girl and being the face of Scream,
Yeah,
in our opinion, right? Scream doesn't exist without Nev, right? It's not like
yeah,
any other horror movie where, the villain goes after other individuals, right?
yeah,
Ghostface was created, essentially because of Nev and her.
exactly. Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, being like a huge Scream fan of and a fan of the franchise, obviously I was going to go see it. I was excited about it. I was like, oh, they're in New York. This could be cool and
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
But obviously, there were some criticisms, and that's why it's the number that it is.
yeah.
Um, I thought I thought Ghostface was a little too extra. I thought he did a lot of things. They were trying to elevate Ghostface, and I don't think it worked out because
Right,
he's basically doing a lot of things I don't think Ghostface would do. He was
right.
more out in the open when Ghostface is essentially lurking behind the shadows.
He's a ghost.
You know, so right, like, so yeah, I mean, the kills were pretty good. I would say my favorite kill from that entry was Danica on the ladder. That was crazy,
Yeah,
suspenseful, brutal. I feel like that is the most memorable kill of this particular entry. What do you think, Danny?
yeah. Honestly, yeah, I would have to agree. It was that was the most memorable because it was like one of those helpless moments. And it's like it was brutal the way she fell, the way she dropped, and it was, he did a number on her. I think that was the biggest one for me. But even like I just want to talk about the opening scene. Like even the opening kill scene wasn't. It didn't do it for me. You know what I mean? I wasn't hooked like I normally am. I really didn't care for even Laura Crane, like the lecturer. I really didn't care for her. Like it was just interesting. But yeah, I agree with you. That one right there, Annika was the most memorable.
Yeah, I agree. Like the opening, like Scream, the Scream franchise is known for its opening kill scene, its opening
Yes.
sequence, and it's what lures the audience in. And I felt this one just felt flat. I know a lot of viewers were excited because they're like, oh, the Ghostface, just like the twist and how Ghostface is killed by the other Ghostface, like
Yeah.
that whole like thing and everything. There are a lot of Easter eggs, Friday 13th, Jason, and all, a lot of
Yeah.
Easter eggs in there and everything. But the opening sequence just it didn't lure me in, like,
Right.
normal. So I agree with you on that. But most importantly, the motives, right? I feel like this motive was done already, like in the Scream 2, the whole
Right.
revenge.
Exactly.
You killed my son, you killed my brother. It was just, the only thing different here, obviously, was a family affair, which was the first time we saw three ghost faces, right?
Yeah.
But I still, it's like it's just like done. It's redone. You know what I mean? I'm just like it was
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, it like you said, it was something done already with Miss Loomis. Even though there were three ghost faces, and it seems like the whole family's nuts. That's interesting, like how that happened. But I'm like, so yeah, I didn't care for it. And even like when they were taking the three ghost faces, when they were taking them out pretty much, and they were dying, it was some crazy brutal things, but it was also like, I don't know, it seemed like for me Scream 6 was like another film. that could have done well if it was called something else, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't Scream to me, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. It
Yeah.
was a good horror film, but it wasn't Scream to me.
I completely agree, and I understand what you're trying to say with that. It had certain elements of Scream, but
Yeah,
I feel like they try too hard to elevate it, and by doing that, you're making it something that it's not.
right.
So those diehard Scream fans are like, came to see a Scream movie are just like, all right, this is a good horror film, but like, where are the elements that makes a good Scream film? We didn't
Yeah,
see a lot, of it, right? And just very,
exactly.
very, very predictable. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Just very
I
predictable.
agree. Very predictable. Very predictable. Um,
And
it's number 7.
lastly, I mean, the character development, the writing. I mean, I felt like the writing was a little lazy. You can hone in on this too. I felt like it was just very like, you know what I mean? There was like nothing that like really brought me in. I thought the development of Sam and Tara's relationship was really good. That whole dynamic at the beginning, where they're at odds at each other, and she's just like, you can't look out for me your entire life. Let me go, live
Yeah,
your life, type of thing. That
yeah.
theme obviously like translated throughout the entire movie. So I like that that side of things and everything. But I feel like everyone else, like the characters, even like down to Mindy and Chad, it was just like it was kind of like pointless. You know what I mean? I didn't see
Oh
like
yeah. Oh yeah.
you know what I mean? Even Mindy's relationship with Danica, I was just like, I mean Annika, I was just like, it was just like it was there's
Yeah.
nothing like appealing there, nothing that was just like, oh great. And the only reason like I was drawn into that particular character is because like it was a that entire scene probably is the most memorable of the entire movie, and that says a lot, right? It was
Right.
definitely high stakes. It was good, kept you on the edge of your seat. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, I don't recall her actual name, but obviously she's going to be remembered for having one of the best deaths in Scream Six.
Right. Yeah, I don't recall her actual name either. Yeah, it was it's what we call fillers, like we fill the scene because you need to fill something to have the time met, right? So that's what it seemed like a lot of that was happening. And especially like, with kills like Brooks, Gail's boyfriend. It's like what like we would have been better off not even having him in the movie. You know what I mean?
Like,
Like
what was the point
it
of
was
the
a waste of yeah. So there was a lot of that in 6. There was a lot of just fillers.
movie? Yeah. Right. They just want to say, oh, Gil, hooking up with this muscular black dude now.
Right. It's like okay.
But that also was a great chase scene. Gail's
It
had a
was
couple.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
She wanted a war for that. Um,
Yeah.
she's had a couple of good chase scenes, even in Scream 2. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Well, six. That was the one we all thought she was gonna get it. Remember, and like that was like a big thing back then. They were like, "Oh my god, they're finally gonna kill off Gail." No.
she's like a cockroach.
Right.
All right, so yeah, our number 7 is Scream 6.
Yes, indeed.
All right, how about we go to our number 6 ranking, and that is Scream 5.
Scream
Or
5.
Scream.
Scream 5. All right, let's get into this one.
Yeah, so Scream 5, that came out in 2022. And it was basically what, like, they were trying to reinvent the franchise by, having a lot of parallels to the 1996 original
Yeah,
Scream. They even named it Scream. They didn't name it Scream 5, which everyone's like,
exactly.
stupid. But,
All right.
I mean, excuse me. I mean, let's start with the opening sequence, right? We
Yes.
had Tara, Jenna Ortega, basically mirroring Drew Barrymore's character, Casey Becker. And
Yeah,
but
totally.
she got toe up.
Oh my god, like ridiculous.
She didn't die, right? That was the whole point. Sam back there. So it was a good opening sequence. I felt that it obviously wasn't as good as Casey's Scream 1996.
Of course,
It
man.
didn't have that. I don't know. It didn't have that like scary like feel to it. I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say. Like it was
Yeah.
it was more so just like boom, 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 everything's happening and like blah blah. But I feel like I don't know. It was lacking something. What do you think?
Yeah. I enjoyed the opening scene. I thought it was good and nice and brutal, but I get what you're saying. It's not. It didn't have the creepy aspect that Ghostface and Scream has.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't think it had that. And five in general is like I felt like I really wanted to love it. Like I didn't love it, but I thought it was good. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then we saw a lot of different things. I know all of our OGs were in there with some new characters. This is when they first introduced, Chad and Mindy and all that. So it's just kind of like, okay, okay, I see what's going on. We got a new friend group. We got, they're revamping things like you said. Um, I I thought it was a good film. And the reason why it's number six is just because it was a good film. Like it just nothing more and nothing less. I just thought it was like it was good, and it wasn't better than the other ones that we were going to talk about. But I think it was good, and I was excited to see where they would take Sydney's character after this, because like she was now the I guess like kind of like the subject matter expert of of everything, but like
Mhm.
and the survivor, and I thought she was gonna kind of be that person to kind of help, you know what I mean? But they didn't bring her back, so I was like, oh.
Yeah. Right. So just going like to overall feel of everything and stuff like that. So this is the first entry after Scream 4. So what almost 12 years later,
Yeah.
Scream 4. So obviously, you had the hype, you had like, oh, Scream's coming back. And obviously we see why they named it Scream, right? And what they were trying to do by revamping it, making it more like the 1996, but obviously more modern. Um, and yeah, I felt like it was a good film. I even liked the whole like having Billy come back, and Sam's
Hmm.
stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I like that part. Yes.
Very nostalgic. Um, and but for me, it was first of all, it was great. Obviously, seeing like you said the OGs, seeing Dewey, how he was like playing that like expert role. He was still Dewey. It was just great.
Yeah. In the trailer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Nev, Sydney coming back for 25 minutes of the movie was just like, I felt like I did more with her. You know what I mean? I get it for the storyline and everything, but I felt they could have did more with her. And for me, a lot of the friend group, and it's just like, I feel like they were pointless. It's
Yeah.
just like, for one, Liv, like Chad's girlfriend, like I felt like she didn't really have a role besides what's his face stalking her, and then at the end,
Yeah, the Vince guy. Yeah.
yeah, like I'm just like, and then that was random too. I mean, there's just a lot of like a
There
random,
was a lot of randomness. Yes.
yeah, and it's like it didn't really fit together. And then they're trying to like, oh, we're going after people, legacy characters, people that are connected to legacy characters, and
Yeah.
it's like, all right, but is that it? You know what I mean? Like,
You're
you
right.
know,
Right.
so yeah, that's what kind of just made me like, it was all right.
Yeah. But it was, yeah, and because I remember, for sure when this came out, we were super excited because
Yeah,
it had been 11 years, and how we were like, this is crazy, So I was super excited, and also to see Martha Meeks, Randy's sister, and
yeah, yeah.
and just you know what I mean, and just like to see all these characters you grew up watching, but then I think what was lacking really was like we will discuss character development and the writing. Kevin Williamson, we love you, but but this one was just not. I just think didn't held up to the other ones. That's it.
I mean, the motives of Ghostface, right?
Yeah.
What did you think of the motives?
What did I think of the motives? They were kind of weak, not my faves. Richie's, what was Richie's again? Main one. Um,
I mean, it was pretty much like them being diehard fans of the
right.
franchise, and
It's trying
the
to
fact
create a
that
new version, a new wave.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for the viewers, like I literally after Scream 7, I was like, oh, I want to just binge all the Screams. So I ended up watching all of them, right? Which I thoroughly enjoyed. But then I was like, again, come to 5, and it's just like that's why I couldn't even like tell you specific because it really just it wasn't good. Like you want to revamp Stab and make it not just a regular sequel, a requel, and like make what I mean? Like, okay. It's all right. All right.
yeah. I agree. I agree with that. I mean, the only thing that like cool, but I loved Amber's. I love Amber's performance when
Oh,
she
I love Amber. Yeah, I love Amber. I told you in the text, remember I said I love me some Amber.
she was good. Like she obviously had that like Stu feel to her. I
Yeah,
wanted her to be Stu and Richie to be Billy.
right.
But she had that was great. But yeah, just basically, diehard fans of Stab, and they hated where the new Stabs were going and stuff. So they wanted to create basically to revamp it, right?
Yeah,
And that,
revamping.
that was everything. And I understand that to an extent because obviously we were talking about true Scream fans and fans of the
Right,
franchise. Fans
right.
don't want a revamp of Scream. We want it to have the same elements, the same feel,
Uh,
that works for so many years. I mean, it's one thing to elevate a little bit, but elevate along the same lines that create, what the feel is of Scream. You
right.
know, but yeah, so
I agree. And I like I said, I get the motive. I understand the motive. Was it a great motive for Scream 5 after 11 years? No. Like I feel like there could have been, Nev had her baby by this time. You know what I mean? Like she had Tatum, you know what I mean? Like there's so many other things, I don't know, but I just felt like it wasn't as strong. And what do you feel about that? Because obviously we see it again in the new Scream, right? We just keep seeing there's a Billy and there's a Stu. You know what I mean? How do you feel about that? How that keeps coming up in Scream? Do you think it's redundant? Do you think we just love it because that's what Scream is?
honestly, I feel like it's a little bit of both, right? I feel like
Yeah,
it's that nostalgia feel that we're just like, yes, that's how it started. Billy and
yeah,
Stu, we love to see that. But at the same time, I feel like that, they can move past it and it still work. You know what I mean? Um,
uh-huh.
the only time we kind of saw something different was in Scream 6 when, the trio, the family and everything. But, you still had, I guess you would say, the daughter and the son were like that Stu feel,
Yeah,
kind of like crazy and like and then the
mhm,
dad was more like calm, like I'm gonna kill you type thing.
right.
And that's it does translate to each Scream. But yeah, I feel like it works though.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly how I feel too. It's one of those redundant things that we won't get tired of, just as long as the actors bring it. You know what I mean? If they really sell it and if they really, dedicate themselves to it, then it's believable and we'll keep eating it up. Okay.
All right, let's get to what number 5,
Number
right?
5 out of 7. Yep.
Number 5. Our ranking number 5 in the Scream franchise is Scream
Scream 7.
7.
No release. Let's go.
All right.
Okay.
I guess I'll start here. So, um, overall feel and everything, overall attachment, obviously here. Yeah, I'm like, yes, I'm smiling the entire time.
Right. Right.
Nev back, we get Sidney Prescott back,
Okay.
face of the
Like
franchise.
what?
the excitement is like, you know what I mean? So that alone just like excited me, and I just was so excited to see where her character is now. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
what's going on.
Yeah.
What Scream 5 was 2022, right?
22 now.
Yeah. So what has happened in these past 4 years?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Right.
Obviously, we see based on one of the main Ghostface, Jessica, her motive had to do with that, right?
Right.
Sydney kind of stepping out of the spotlight and minding her own business, so to speak.
Right.
But yeah, so I was, super excited about it. Obviously, we have attachment to Sydney Prescott. We've seen everything she's been through, her journey and everything. And I was for it. You know what I mean? I was all about it. What about you?
Yeah, I was too. Overall feelings, I was super excited. We were looking forward to this forever. Cindy's back, Nell's back. Um, it was definitely a treat. Gail came back. Yeah, overall feels I was really looking forward to, and I thought I had high expectations. Um, and like you said, I wanted to know what was going on, what was what was Sydney up to? She set New York out. And I was like, what? Why they kept saying that? I know you set New York out, and I'm so sorry. I should have been there, but I love how they kept addressing it because it
Yeah.
did happen. You know what I mean? It happened. You missed it. You weren't there. So, um, yeah, I think that's something that was realistic. Gail would you'd be like, oh yeah. Yeah, you missed it. And I got toe up. Where were you?
And I feel like that goes to, Kevin Williamson and his writing, right? I felt like
Yes.
he did a great job with that and making it known that she sat this out and people either resent her for it or angry, at her for
Yeah.
it. Obviously, that's part of the motives of Ghostface.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I like that too. But it's kind of what I also liked is how I kind of went full circle because when Sydney kind of like went after Ghostface and to save Tatum, she left Gail behind, and obviously I feel
Yeah.
like that was because she dealt with what she dealt with in New York and Sydney didn't want her to go through it again here. So she
Right.
was like, my fight, I'm going to do this. She can stay here, that type of thing. So
Yeah.
I really like that too.
Yeah. She was like, you already got nerve damage, yeah. You can't even hold a cup of coffee. So just
Yeah,
go ahead and do that.
so she was like, the kills. What do we think of the
Yeah.
kills?
Kills
Yeah.
were yeah. Kills were ruthless. Kills were ruthless in this one. I enjoyed it. This from the chandelier to the arson to the harness. Um Yeah, to the getting burned on a lie. Like, and there were just a lot of great there was just a lot of great kills in this one. However, and we talked about this in our last episode, they weren't all Ghostface, and particularly Lucas's death, which was insane. It was dope. Don't get me wrong. Like I would. That's a dope kill to have in this horror movie. But I would expect that from Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. You know what I mean? Like someone who's superhuman strength that can lift someone up by their head.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it
Literally
just didn't make
every day,
sense. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just like something like that. And I think we talked about the one in six as well with the shotgun in the convenience store. It's just one of those things that was like, oh, that's not Ghostface. That was dope, but that's not Ghostface. You know what I mean? So that's how I felt.
Right, exactly. Like Ghostface shooting people in a bodega. Like, what?
Right. I'm like, come on now.
Ghostface has never wielded a gun until the reveal, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Once the reveal
Yeah.
happens, maybe he'll pick up a gun.
Right. Exactly.
Billy, Stu, Amber, Miss Loomis, it all was after the reveal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. The kills were dope. And I get them trying to elevate the kill and stuff, but I just felt like I feel like the elevation was good for like the chandelier, for example, with Madison.
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
her being burned alive and everything. That's a great Scream Ghostface elevation. Having Ghostface literally pick somebody up by his head and then put him
Yeah.
on a tap,
It,
that's given like Jason Voorhees and Michael
yeah,
Myers.
it did make sense. Even the harness, and her doing the pinata. I'm gonna call it the the Ghostface pinata. Even that, like that was like, okay, that's Ghostface, But like, yeah, it threw me off. It
Yeah,
threw me off. That's all.
that was the only kill that I was just like, it doesn't belong in this
Yeah,
movie. But yeah, so we touched on this a little bit, but the motives of Ghostface.
yeah,
For everyone that's watched our last Scaresode, we were kind of about the motives. We weren't really fans of them. We kind of addressed that kind of Jessica had two parts to her motive, and we thought
yeah,
maybe the second part made more sense, creating that new cycle of trauma, having Tatum watch her mom die and what that does and everything like that. Obviously, Jessica wanted to perpetuate the cycle and be Sydney, and at this point, her offspring just having a life of trauma, right? Because
right.
she said Sydney can't have a normal life. That's not that's story. That's not in her book. Which is pretty ballsy of Jessica to say, right? It's like,
Right.
dang, you don't want her to be
It's like,
happy at all.
okay. Right.
But that also goes to show, like, what the Scream franchise is about and how people like that, like a fanatic like Jessica, how they view Sidney Prescott.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And the funny thing is too, like, on 5, when she was doing the book signing and all that stuff, and she found that posters in her trunk that was bloody and stuff like that. I'm sorry, 4, excuse me. Yeah, when she was doing that, and I was like, that shows how connected, how many people, because like her publicist, right, and you could hear it and just constantly hear her talking about how many people was like so focused on Sydney and her story, and it helped all these people through their life. And then watching it, I'm thinking of Jessica now. I'm like, wow, Jessica's one of those people she's talking about, And so like, yeah, it fell flat, but then I get it, but as we mentioned in the previous, so it was just one of those. I liked one of her motives, and the other one was kind of just. And then you had old boy there was just, what's his name? Marco. Yeah, he was just along for the ride. Exactly. I'm like, bruh. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We get it, like the whole toxicity of like fandom and like, being obsessed,
Right.
with somebody. We get that and how it can turn dangerous, right?
Exactly.
A textbook example of that. Was it completely warranted? Did it make complete sense? Sydney stepping away for what, 3 years, and
Right.
to focus on her life, because she's not wanting to always live in this trauma. Like, I think most people understand that, why it made Jessica snap. Obviously, she wasn't there to complete.
Right. She wasn't there in the first place. And just to like, to move a certain place, check yourself into a certain place, just so you can be close to Sydney is crazy.
Like,
right. Crazy.
It's definitely textbook stalker behavior.
Yeah. Next level.
But now we're at 4. Ranking number 4. And we have the number 4 spot, Scream 3.
3, let's go.
All right, I'm gonna have Danny start off with this one.
I love Scream 3. All right. Let me tell you. So first and foremost, this was Wes's last film that he really worked on from start to finish, right? So round of applause for him. So we lost Wes after that. Also, it just was star-studded. So my whole feels, I'll get into like the theme of feels in it. So this came out in 2000. So I was young. I ain't gonna reveal my age, but I was young. No, yeah, but it was like one of those things where it was in Hollywood. It was showing, behind the scenes of Stab, and it was on the set, and and obviously in the realm that I was very interested in and that I'm working in now in that industry. And it was just like one of those things I remember feeling how I felt watching it. Very nostalgic, very like, and where I was in that point in my life, really interested in what happens behind the camera. And this was like one of those first scary screams that did that for me. And not only that, it was stacked. We had Patrick Dempsey, it was Carrie Fisher, I mean, Jenna McCartney. Oh my God, the list goes on. Parker Posey was hilarious. Like it was also one of the more funny screams in my opinion. Which I really, really enjoyed. We dug more into, Sydney's mom, Maureen Prescott, Rena Reynolds, so yeah, it was just a really good film, and I really enjoyed 3. And definitely one of my top 3 of this franchise for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely a good entry, and it's kind of funny because, well, how are you looking at it? So one of the criticisms about Scream 3 was that a lot of the critics thought it was over the top, like they tried
Yeah,
to be too funny, right?
yeah, yeah,
I thought it was just the right amount of funny. Obviously, like it became more elevated because in Scream it was more like that, like like dry humor.
yeah,
It was, but this was like literally like funny. Um,
hilarious.
but still good. Best death to me was when the house blew up. Cool. Um, and yeah, I liked Parker Posey too. Like
Oh yes,
she got a lot of credit, for her performance in this particular entry, and I thought it was well deserved.
yeah,
Sure. Um, Obviously, this is the only entry where we see one Ghostface, Roman.
yes. Hmm.
And we find out he basically
That started.
he was the
Yeah,
reason the entire situation started with Sydney and everything like that. So I
yeah,
thought it was really, really good. I liked it a lot. But and even the character, like the only thing for me is like I felt like there was like almost too many characters. You know what I mean? Obviously, had like the actual main characters, and then you had the Stab characters that were playing them.
yeah, yeah,
It's kind of cool to see the whole like dynamic between the two and stuff like that, especially the Gale
yes,
and
yes.
Cox. But I felt like it was a lot too, right? But it also made it more like action packed. I felt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a lot going on,
Yeah.
which I think a reminiscent of an actual working set. There's so many things happening at once, but we're all trying to get this one scene. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like that for me. And I would say Tom's death was the one that stood out to me the most. And Cotton Reary's death with Christine, his wife. I think that one, it was such a good opening because I remember when it first came out. I'm watching this opening scene and I'm just like, uh-oh. And then like he gets to the house, she's gonna think it was him and like all this stuff. Like Ghostface literally set him up. There was no there was no getting out of there. You know what I mean? And then that whole situation happened. So between the history of finding out more of the past, the characters, all that stuff, yeah. At the start, Scream 3 was chef's kiss.
It was definitely a good one for sure. All right, so now we're at our top 3.
Top 3. Uh-oh. Let's
Right.
talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So again, at number 3, we have Scream 4.
Let's go.
And this may be a controversial one for a lot of people because there were a lot of people that had strong opinions about Scream 4, but we're gonna break it down right now.
Let's do it.
So, Scream 4 tagline: "New decade, new rules." Right.
Yeah.
So technically, it was like 10 years after obviously Scream 3, the one we just discussed. So we see Sidney Prescott back. Danny kind of touched on this a little bit before. She's in her world book tour. She's traveling, signing books and everything. And basically, everything starts back when she hits Woodsboro to do her book signing, right?
Yeah.
So overall feel and attachment to the movie. Obviously, we got a new Scream, right? So we're so excited. It's been 10 years. What are we gonna do? They got a decent cast. You know what I mean? Hayden Panettiere. We had Emma Roberts. Obviously, OGs. Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette. It was great. I felt very excited. I wanted to see again what was Sydney up to, 10 years later, how they're going to thread her through this movie and what's going to be her purpose and that type of thing.
Right.
And I love how they did it, honestly. She was still like the main focus, but they had this new generation of, a friend group, which ultimately, the Ghostface was part of that friend group, right? Who people thought was like the new final girl, wasn't.
Right.
At all. So,
right.
How did you feel, Danny, once, Scream 4 came out?
Yeah, I loved it. Obviously, as we'll let the viewers in on it. I was, fighting between either 3 and 4 being the third one. And I have my reasons. Paul had his reasons. But I am happy that we decided to do this route. Because when it first came out, I was lit. I was like, oh my God, almost 11 years later. What's going on? Where's Nev? Where's Sydney? Where's Gail? Where's Dewey? What's there? What's going on with them? And then we finally get this bird's eye view. And like you said, she was like the lead, the main character, but kind of, like co-lead, like with her cousin. And it was just, okay, we're getting this new feel. I felt like it was kind of like what they were trying to do with 5, but failed at, if that makes sense, with the new generation, new friends, all that. And I just think it worked a lot better in 4. And and then obviously we got introduced to some of our beloved characters, Kirby, like all these people that we just that really like touched our hearts over the years, So I really was excited for Scream 4 and the star-studded cast. And what the new Ghostface was all about, right? And their motives, which we'll get into.
Yeah, and going back to what you said, I feel like that it worked. The friend group in Scream 4 is because it was very reminiscent of Scream. The original 96. That friend group, it had more of that like nostalgic feel to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Opposed to just like 5, where I just felt like there was like random, just like people, and like some of them didn't really like each other. It's just like, where like, Mindy was kind of antagonistic to some of them. It's just like, it was a better feel, I feel like. And then the friendship of Kirby and Jill was just like, great. So and I mean, this is where we saw probably first the most brutal Ghostface kill, when Ghostface killed Olivia, right? He basically, dude, when I first saw that, I was like, this reminds me of Friday the 13th. Jason Lives. Remember, Jason killed that I forgot her name, that short-headed girl, short-haired girl in the cabin. He was like talking everywhere, and like there's blood everywhere in the cabin. I was like, this kind of reminds me of that. I didn't see like all of the insides like you did in Scream, but
right.
I think this is the first time we saw like, that like brutal Ghostface. Obviously not as it pertains to like the ending death, because obviously Casey Becker was pretty brutal. You saw her insides and stuff like that, but I'm talking about like how it actually went down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Olivia was rough. I'm like, she didn't deserve all that. And it was one of those things where it was like, he's in there, like type, and then she's running across trying to get, Sydney's running across trying to get, and it's just, yeah, it was that was brutal. That was
Yeah.
brutal. It was a great welcome back, for the Scream franchise.
Exactly, and like just like you said, welcome back. Like when Sydney looked through the window and she looked at Ghostface, and she just like kind of backed away. The
Yeah,
music, it's like, oh,
yeah,
again. Um,
uh-huh,
but and I feel like here they bring back this whole like stealthy Ghostface,
yeah,
hiding in the shadows type thing,
yeah,
even hiding in the closet, toying around with them and everything. I thought it was very, while it's creepy, it's also playful. And I think that's why, that's who Ghostface is, right? It's
yeah,
creepy,
for sure.
but at the
Yeah,
same time, like who. Um,
I
so yeah,
agree.
that was great. The motives of Ghostface, I mean, I thought this was like one of the last times we had a really good motive. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I don't know what you
yeah,
think about that, but obviously, Jill, you know, basically wanting that spotlight. You know what I mean? And like growing up hearing about Sydney, and wanting to be the new final girl, wanting that popularity, wanting, basically just to take out Sydney to get that. And it shows like basically again the toxicity of like being a star and being a survivor, that type of thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Jill clearly was off to begin with. If that makes you want to kill all these people to become that, but yeah, no, I thought it was really good. This was also one of the screams that was not for me was not predictive. Like I didn't predict Jill being
Yeah,
the killer. You know what I mean? They got me on that one, which is
yeah,
hard to get, but they got me.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
That,
Like
yeah,
Charlie, I knew something was up with him, but Jill, I did not get. So that was kudos for one. But yeah, I thought like we said, like we mentioned before in our past scare, so I think 5 and 6 lost that ghost face that we were just talking about, the creeping aspect, the lurking in the dark, the ghost aspect of Ghostface.
right.
5 and 6 lost it. 7 brought it back. So
Mhm.
that's why I was like, yeah, this was one of the last ones in the franchise that held and brought it back after so long. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, so yeah, I really enjoyed this film as in its entirety. And Jill was ruthless. She
Mhm.
killed her mom. She shot Oprah in the head. Like it was just like, and no feelings whatsoever was gone. And Emma did such a great job playing that role.
She had like a purpose and she stuck to that purpose. I mean, even down to her, tearing herself up at the end, throwing herself into the
Right.
table.
Oh my God, that was the funniest thing ever. When she ran into that dude, like she tore herself up. And I was like, that's dedication right there. Oh my
Dedication,
God.
like the writing, like what I mean. It
Yeah.
was
The
it was
writing, everything.
yeah, it was good. We love
Just to die at the end.
it. She
She
almost
said,
got away. Like, this
yeah,
was she was the only Ghostface that almost got away with it.
almost got away. That almost got away. Sydney just survived. And
Yeah,
that's what she said. She said, "You're gonna slip up. They all do." And she
yeah,
did. What it
yes.
her her way of slipping up was saying that Gail got stabbed. She was like, "How did she know I got stabbed?" You
Like,
slipped up, man.
stop talking.
Right. Stop talking and you would have got away from it.
Oh, we're gonna have matching wounds.
Right. It's like
All right, let's get to number two.
oh wow, we're coming down.
Number two should be no surprise, but it
No
is
surprise, really. None of these are. Should be this next two. There you go. Scream 2. Let's go.
second in the franchise.
Yes. Let's go.
Um, Overall feel of Scream 2, Danny. I mean, so it
Woo.
came a year after the original film, 1997.
1997.
Yeah, shoot. The star-studded cast too, man. We had Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah. I
um,
mean, it
yeah,
was crazy. Overall feels for me, we were all on our Scream high, still from the previous year.
Yeah.
So they was like, we gotta hurry up with this next one because they're like you caught everybody with that first one. So
Right.
yeah, and then Sarah Michelle Gellar was hot that year with Know What You Did Last Summer. So like they put her in there. Like it was literally the early 2000 like teenage horror film that was great.
And even
Um,
even Buffy the Vampire Slayer that had started
yeah,
too. TV show
yeah,
like
that
she was like,
started around there.
that's some hot
Yeah,
chicks that and then
I'm like, yeah, there was some. I mean, this, yeah, Scream Two was great. And then we see everybody coming back from one, which was cool. Um, we had to say goodbye to some of our beloveds, but it was, but it was. I thought overall it was great. And I was in good feels for it. I was looking forward to it. And then we introduced what Stab got first introduced, right? So this is the first time we got to see, oh, they're making a film about Sydney's life. Interesting. So we got to
right.
see that play and well.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, like the kills, like Randy, we see his death, and that kind of that's the first time you realize that anybody can die, right?
Anyone,
And
no one's safe. Yeah.
a lot of people were pissed off that Randy died, right? But I felt that it was such a good way to show that like anybody can die in this franchise.
Yeah.
Kind of steered away from that in the later entries, like
Yeah.
letting people survive and stuff like that. But his death was such a shocker, and it's just like, it was memorable. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it was a good one. I mean, opening sequence,
Opening sequence. Yeah. That's
top in the franchise. Loved it.
memorable forever. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was crazy. That movie theater and Jada's, belting at the top of her lungs, you know.
It's
Um,
parodied in Scary Movie.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's how good it was.
That's like,
But yeah, two was great, and then also, we see the relationship with Gail and Sydney, a little bit more flourishing, but yet they love and hate each other at the same time. And then, the new cameraman, Joel, was hilarious. So you had different. Did you get that on film? Yes, I got that on film. It was like just like moments that were just really funny. Then you had, Nev's new friend or Sydney's new friend, Hallie, which like that was the most dumbest death. I'm sorry. Like I did not like Hallie's death. I said, girl, you should have been left, Sydney. You said let's go leave. He got you killed.
it was so stupid because it's like you trying to stick together through all this entire time, but she was
Right.
like gonna stand back there and just
Right. And I'm like, what? Um, but yeah, and then we see, Cotton Weary because he's now a free man, So I see, it was just like it was a great movie to see character development of these people from one. You know what I mean? I thought it was great.
great writing, great character development. Even the friend group, like it's just like
Yeah.
you learned to like you learned a lot about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mickey,
Yeah.
like you said, Holly and everything. They didn't have obviously big roles. They were supporting cast, but you still started to develop something, for them, and that's the whole
Right.
point of movies, right? You want to feel something if and when they do die. If you're just like, oh, whatever,
Exactly.
they didn't have
Exactly.
character development. But yeah,
Yeah.
then
Right.
the motives, we love them. This is the first time we saw the revenge motive.
Yeah.
Miss-
The Revenge, Miss Loomis. Yeah. And then Mickey coming in just sick of the terrible sequels or what was it? Yeah, right.
yeah, yeah, and he wanted to blame the movies to get
He
away
wanted to
with.
blame the movies. Yeah, she was like, yeah, he really thought that was gonna work. It was like,
She was like, "Oh, Mickey, there won't be a trial."
there won't be a tower. He was like, he really thought that dumb shit was gonna work. I'm like, really? Yeah. So, and then we see, again, the person, it mimicked Billy and Stu's, relationship. And then just knowing who she was, being that reporter,
Yeah.
all that whole time,
Uh-huh.
toying with Gail, doing all like it was crazy. Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, it was really cool. I felt Laura McCabb did a great job. Like,
Oh
she was
yeah,
crazy too. You know what I mean? When you can bring the
yes,
crazy to Ghostface, it works out
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. Like these are one of those films that um it's unfortunate that we will never see again. Meaning, there will never be a first like this again. You know what I mean? And this is a great first. You know what I mean? It was just such a great sequel.
It was such a great sequel. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's such a good feel to it. It's such like from start to finish. It's just like it's just yeah. It's hard to explain. It's just really
yeah,
really yeah.
exactly. So kudos. That was back in what, 97, man. Yeah. So and still going strong.
Right. And number one, which is no surprise at
Y'all
all,
guessed it.
got Scream 1996. Drew Barrymore cover, killing it.
Yes. Let's go.
All right.
OG.
Yeah,
The
applause.
OG.
Do we even got to discuss this?
Right. I'm like, do we really got to talk about why this is? Let's just briefly discuss. So the
Yeah, I mean,
feels, the feels and the themes, right? Like when this first came out, what, 96, right? I was super young. And I just remember this creepy movie with teenagers, and it was like this stalker killer. I'm like, okay, this is intriguing. And then of course you and I were like, let's learn more about this. We already love Wes Craven, so it's like there's nothing, So we're like, okay, and we know we've loved Nev from The Craft and a couple other things. So it's like
wow,
we
things.
know these people, Courtney Cox, all know, okay, David, okay, and then so Matthew, and so I'm like, okay, this has got to be great, not knowing that it would be the cult classic that it turned into. Once I saw the film, I absolutely fell in love with it. Like we were doing home movies. I was writing scripts like as a little kid. You know what I mean? Like this was one of the films that really launched me into wanting to be a filmmaker in general. This is so Scream has a very, very special place in my heart. The first one, and it's just wow. The writing, the actors, the cinematography for that time,
Mhm.
um, the funny, the jokes, the star-studded cast. I mean, hands down, number one.
Yeah, hands down. I mean, obviously, Scream is credited for revitalizing the horror genre, the
Yeah,
slasher genre, and I mean, it holds that title to this day. And I mean,
yeah,
it's never not going to have that title.
yeah.
And like you said, just great writing, great cast, and everything. It just felt so. It was there's some. I'm always like, especially when I was younger. Obviously, we watched horror movies and stuff like that. But I will always be intrigued by like high school or like college students, like
Yes,
something
yes.
happening to them in a scary movie. I'm like, oh, what's this about? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And this was basically no different, right?
yeah,
Um, it was very appealing. It was very, it was scary for that time. Right? You know what I mean,
yeah.
and just like the opening sequence, man, the best in the
Oh
franchise.
my God.
Drew Barrymore, and just like the phone call, right? It's just like everything from start to finish in Scream was just phenomenal, even down to the Ghostface reveals. You
Yeah,
know, it was great. And like you said in the previous episode, it's just like you start to like, you start to realize how screwed up Sydney's life actually was, right?
right.
Her mom,
Yes.
being, R word and then murdered by your boyfriend, and then you losing your virginity to your boyfriend, and then him trying to kill you, and
Same night.
same night, just this whole revenge plot. Um, and the motives were pretty solid too.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah.
you have Stu, who's obviously like, I'm around for the ride, let's go, that type of thing. I mean, but you always you may have that type of person, you know what I mean?
Oh
It's just
yeah.
like, I'm down for
It's
this.
just it's just not there, just loose off the rock and just needs like guidance. They're willing to be down and do anything. They just need guidance. And he was just this spoiled rich kid, bored. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, that's
but yeah, the motives was great, and then, obviously we found out that Roman was the one behind all it. But I mean, obviously Billy was messed up anyway, but it's like that's crazy. And just to, you put yourself in the shoes of these characters, like you slept next to this person, you went on dates with this person and you killed their mother. You know what I mean? And it's just so
right. Like
crazy.
right. The mental state of a person that continuously like be around you and
Yes.
you did this to their mom and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Because he had a purpose.
Right.
And even Roman said, you know what I mean, he basically showed Billy what he showed him, but he had no idea that Billy was gonna do what he did and create
Right.
ghosts and all that stuff, you know what I mean?
Right.
While Roman may have been the engineer, Billy basically was the creator of it all.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, most memorable kill, unfortunately, our girl Tatum. That
Yes.
probably the
Yes.
most kill.
Yeah, I would say definitely Tatum. I mean, the first kill is obviously like that's OG. I feel like no one could really step to Casey like that.
Opening.
The opening, yeah, because that just sets the tone for Scream. But other than that, yeah, I would say Tatum for sure. And just that
Yeah.
whole garage scene and her trying to get up out of there. I'm like, if you don't wiggle yourself through that
Right.
thing,
Uh,
I'm like,
and I started to, because I mean, the original Scream didn't have a lot of characters, right? You know what I mean? And Billy did. It was probably the Scream with the least amount of deaths, but it's still it's a superior film just because of the writing and the spookiness and the creepiness and behind it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's what I'm saying. Like, in my opinion, like you don't need like 15, 20 deaths in a Scream movie for it to be a spectacular film, you know what I mean, or a creepy
right,
film. We see
right.
that in the original one. You know what I mean? It's such a cult classic and it was great. And we literally had maybe 5 deaths. There was Casey,
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
her boyfriend, there was the news reporter, Gail's camera guy, there
Sarah
was the
camera guy,
principal.
Tatum, the principal. Yeah,
So yeah, there are 5 besides the ghost faces.
yeah.
Uh,
Kenny,
and I
New
mean,
York. I point, you shoot. No.
so yeah, definitely number one for a reason, and I don't think anyone will argue with that one.
No, I mean, if you do, I don't know what you watched, but yeah, I think yeah, number one just holds it down. It holds it down. It will always be the OG. Billy Loomis and Stu Macher will always be them, and and yeah, it's just them,
The boys, right there, the boys.
right? All of them. Yeah, it's just it set the tone for like the party. You know what I mean? The party being the third act. And we saw this happen in so many other horror films after that. They used the party as the third act. And it was brilliant, And like you said, there's something about college and students or high school students being in that scenario. I don't know what it is. It's like, that sense of them being like living wild and free, yet naive and dumb at the same time, and therefore the perfect mate or like the perfect victim. So like, you know what I mean?
The perfect like ingredients for a horror film. It's just
Right,
like,
exactly. Exactly. It's delicious.
oh man. All
Well,
right.
there you have it.
There we have it. Round of
Let's
applause.
go.
Great
Yes.
franchise. Yeah. So Danny, like any last words about the Scream franchise?
My final thoughts about Scream. I am so grateful to Wes and Kevin. Hopefully, I'll meet Kevin sooner than later, so I can tell him to his face. I'm very, you know, it's just I'm grateful for the franchise. It's like I said, it means a lot to me. It started my love for filmmaking even more so than it before. And I love where it is going. I talk, I talk a little mess about 5 and 6, but I do love them. It's just, I'm happy that we got back to what Ghostface is and what Scream is. We tried a little something. We tried a little different, but come on, bring it on back. Let's go. No, but in all seriousness, no, I'm looking forward to see where 8 is gonna go. And yeah, I just think I'm very grateful for it because, like I said, it revolutionized horror. And I had to binge all of them again. And it's one of those things that will never be forgotten. Just like Frankenstein, Dracula, all that, never be forgotten.
Right. Yeah, I agree. The Scream franchise holds a special place in my heart, near and dear. I mean, that was one of the first, one of our first movies that we actually kind of home recorded in our own little, kind of our own little script and our own way and everything, So obviously, we loved it at such a young age.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna mimic that. Obviously, we love the entire franchise. Some of the entries are our least favorite, or we have criticisms about them, but that's just because we're such diehard fans, and they may have steered away from certain things, but they still have certain elements of Scream which we appreciate, because like I said,
Right.
True hardcore Scream fan does not want a revamp.
Exactly.
Quote Mindy on that one. But yeah, definitely. Love the franchise. Excited to see what they do in Scream 8. I've read that actually Nev Campbell has pitched the idea for Scream 8, so I
heard that. Yeah,
I can only imagine what was going through her head in the process, and see. Obviously, Kevin was down for it, so it has to be good.
Yeah,
so, yeah. I can't wait. Can't wait for it.
Me neither. Yeah. It's gonna be a treat, I must say. Definitely a treat.
Definitely a treat. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. And again, these are our rankings for the Scream franchise. Let us know what you think. If you agree, if you disagree with us. I mean, we're up for a healthy debate. Why not?
All right. Keep it healthy. Keep it healthy.
Danny, where can they find you?
All right, y'all. You can find me everywhere at I am Danny Royce.
All right. You guys can find me at Alpha Boys and I1. Thanks for stopping in again, and we'll see you guys soon.
Nice. Yes, indeed. Stay creepy, y'all.